And it's the first time I've actually seen someone nail the branding and can really see it like explode and Pink's become an actual household name because the branding is there. Whereas all your competitors in franchising, it's not there. Like, I finish what I'm saying for you guys to actually hear it, and then us to hear it. So we'll just roll right into it, guys. I'm super, super pumped to have you guys on because I don't know if you know our story, but we built a window cleaning business and sold it over about 5 years, from 2017 to 2022. And I heard you guys originally on the My First Million podcast. And I want to know everything about everything, right? Because we come from the window cleaning world, so we can I'm just coming at it from an angle of, I want to know, the super nitty gritty technical stuff. And then we talk about the story a little bit. But I mean, let's start there. Like, you guys are friends. We're friends. We started a window cleaning business. You started a window cleaning business. What gave you guys the idea? What really interests me is what gave you guys the idea of like starting a window cleaning company, but coming at it from the angle at which you came at it from, as far as the branding and the vibe and the aesthetic. Because nobody thinks to, like, everybody's like, oh, let's start a window cleaning business, right? You can make money really quick, but to add on the layer of like, let's sell a merch and let's brand it really well. No one else is doing it. What gave you guys that idea?
Yeah. I think like we keep coming back to, like, if you can pick something super simple that's not revolutionizing the wheel, but just overdo it on every aspect, whether it's the service, the tech, the experience, the look of it, we feel like it's such a win. And I think firsthand being in Austin and such a founder's town where there's all these great things popping up left and right. And we've had close ties to like Yeti coolers, and watching those guys just like over engineer a cooler and brand it really well, make an incredible story, and then just send it out to the world. And we're like, dude, nobody's doing that in the service industry. Like, how fun would it be to just like latch onto a simple business, try to flip it in the sense that like, man, let's make it look different. Let's like have people stop and try to figure out like, what the hell are these people doing? Like dressed up outside a house, what's going on here? And yeah, we just got kind of like addicted to the idea of that. And we're like, it'd be so fun to do. And honestly, I feel like when we do stories like this, it sounds like we like knew what we were doing, or we had some like master plan and it was going to work. But at the end of the day, we got laid off and we needed work and we needed a job, and we like thought window cleaning would be pretty easy to learn. So in a lot of ways, yeah, I feel like we lucked out by picking like a service that you can actually do what you say you're going to do somewhat easily compared to others way more complicated blue collar services.
And I'll add on to that. When we started it, like we knew we wanted to have a fun brand tied to flipping the script on blue collar, and we knew no one else that we could find was doing that. But we also just had like such bad, like recent experiences with service companies. Like I had a plumbing issue at my house. He had an electricity issue at his house. And like every day during this plumbing issue, my plumber showed up 5 hours late. The dude fell asleep on my porch. His guy showed up super late, couldn't figure out what was wrong. I think he just like ghosted you or something like that.
Yeah, we never fixed it.
And it was just so hard to get people to show up and do what they say they're going to do. And as we talked to friends and family about these experiences, every person we talked to had a nightmare service company experience. Oh, they broke this in my house. They stole this. They didn't even show up at all. They showed up 8 hours late. They invoiced me the wrong amount. And we're just like, why is the standard so low? Why is the bar so low? So we were so committed to just like making a seamless customer experience. But then we coupled that with the fun branding piece of it. And to us, it just tells a great story that we're trying to do something different and really flip the script on the services.
And it all came from like that dignity piece of like, it seemed like any service we backed into, it came down to the people just like not believing that their job was worth it. They just thought like, oh, I'm just kind of doing this for the time being, or like, man, I probably should have been doing something better with my life, but this is what I ended up doing. And we're like, that's a pretty bad outlook on like your career, the thing you're doing, like spending your 40 hours a week invested in. And we're like, there's so much purpose in those jobs. And we had a few mentors, a lot of similar mentors that were like, honestly, the blue collar industry is like the backbone of the town. Like if that doesn't exist, there's a lot of stuff doesn't get done, and it doesn't end up being the enjoyable place you want to live. And we're like, wow, that's more dignity than you could ever need in anything. And we're like, this is a super necessary and just like great job to have. And so we got addicted to that idea and like, let's just pump that and make a whole story around that.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so you guys knew you wanted to be in the service industry, but like, were you guys picking between like 2 or 3 different services? Or you just knew right away?
It was kind of windows right away. Honestly, like when I was getting laid off from my previous job, they did it on this mass Zoom call, like fired like 60 people. And they're just like, hey, you guys no longer work here. And while I was on this call, for some reason, I think I had like just seen a window cleaner at my in-laws' house. And I was kind of backing into the unit economics of it. And so like while I was on this call getting fired, I was like looking up like window cleaning equipment. Like at the end of the day, I had just gotten married. We had like a lease I had to pay. So I was like, dude, I'm like, I need this money. I got to find something quick. And like thought of the window cleaning thing a little bit, but then kind of put it on the back burner. Then Brandon and I started hanging out because we both had all the time in the world because we were laid off. Started walking around and we were like looking at the services, and Brandon kind of brought it back up. Like, dude, window cleaning is so simple. And I was like, that's crazy you say that. I see it as a God thing. It was just like put on my mind and put on my heart like right at the perfect time.
And like we kind of like for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes went down the maybe we should like try to be plumbers or electricians or window and door installation people. And then we were just like, man, we're not smart enough for that. But what we can do is we do know how to clean.
Yeah, I think it was like we knew we needed to make money right away, and we knew every other avenue was going to take some sort of training, some sort of like licensing qualifications, which you don't need with window cleaning. It was like, let's just go online and watch Steve-O, the window cleaner videos. Shout out Steve-O.
Keith Kalfas, a little bit of Keith Kalfas there.
Yeah.
Luke, the window cleaner. I don't know if you guys watch him too.
Yeah, I remember Luke, the dude with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to watch this.
And what was the dude in like Michigan?
That's
Keith Kalfas.
Okay, yeah, that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's a character for
we
sure.
We just called up Steve-O because he has his number all over his stuff. And Brandon was like, we should just call him and ask him how to do all this. And we were like, I remember being like nervous of like, this is the window guy. Like this is the influencer. And he couldn't have been nicer. I feel like he just gave us the keys to the castle and was like, oh dude, this is how you do it. It's super simple. And yeah, that was a game changer for us because we started with just going to buy Home Depot squeegees, going door to door. Didn't realize how bad our stuff was.
And there were so many times where we'd be on a job site and we'd had like, this is like super early on and we had no idea what we were doing. And so we get on the call with Steve on a FaceTime with Steve and we're like, hey, how do we get this window clean? It's like way up there or way over there. And it's super dirty and it's not getting cleaned up. And he would just so patiently walk us through how to do everything. So
what a nice guy.
And what's so sweet is like now Steve-O is doing that for our franchisees. So it's like they can call him up. He's in their pocket whenever and can help on like any of the technical stuff. And so he's been a huge, huge help to the business.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like kind of part of the Pinks team in that way?
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that's so
every
funny.
one of our franchisees gets access with them. He was actually just on a group call with all of our franchisees, kind of talking through longevity of your products, how to maintenance everything.
He gives everybody like crash course in equipment, what everything is, when we need to like update. It was sweet. Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny you say that because I remember when we started, we had our first residential job, and we were standing outside. First, we didn't know how to take the screens out, so we had to figure out how to take the screens out. And we took the screens and we're like, wait, how do we clean these? And we didn't have like I don't know if you guys have the stand-up screen washer. We didn't have that yet. And so we're like, how do we clean this? We just had our applicator. And so we're sitting there watching YouTube videos on the front lawn of this house, figuring out how to clean a screen. So, dude, I can relate to that. So heavy.
That's awesome.
Hey, let me just interrupt real quick to tell you about Home Service Academy. It's the company Sergio and I run. Home Service Academy is essentially a business in the box where our team will actually roll up our sleeves and help you build a house cleaning business and run it completely remotely from anywhere in the world, from dirt to however big you actually want to take it. To date, we've helped over 1,500 people start and grow their existing house cleaning businesses all across the US and Canada. It's something we've gotten very, very good at, And if you've been looking to dip your toe into entrepreneurship, whether that's to go full-time in a business, to replace an income, or just build a side hustle that produces you an extra whatever amount of money you want to make on the side, on top of your current 9 to 5, then click the link in the bio and book a call with our team. It's completely free, and at the very least, you'll see what it looks like to actually run one of these businesses, the time commitments, the amount of money it costs to actually start, and every good and bad thing that can come with running one of these. So again, if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the bio, and let's get back to the pod.
It's Brandon and Carter. How do you guys, who does what? Like, what are your guys' titles? How do you guys differentiate roles real quick?
Yeah, our roles have evolved as time have gone on. So when we first started it, Carter and I were the everything people. We were the window cleaners. When we started it, we were rolling out of his high school car, a 2004 Chevy Tahoe, and they just had all the equipment in the back of there. There was mildew everywhere. It was nasty. But we cleaned, we quoted, we scheduled. The whole business was run on an Excel sheet, Google Calendars, and QuickBooks. And then as the business grew and we hired a few people, we would go quote everything together. And then we're like, wait, this is inefficient. And then eventually I took on every commercial client. He took on every residential client. So I would do all the commercial quoting. He'd do all the residential stuff. Then Carter did all the branding, marketing, all that. I kind of did all like the finance, operations stuff. And then we grew more. And we decided, hey, we're going to franchise this business. And then Carter started running all Pink's Austin operations, and still does all like the marketing and, digital videos, all that. And I started to focus more on the franchising side of the business. So
it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Just delegating and having our roles constantly evolve based on our strong suits has been, And I feel like we got so lucky in the sense that it's so much yin and yang with like our, like our abilities and our skills. It's like, there's so many things I could never do without Brandon, and Brandon, I feel like feels like similar ways.
And you guys got pretty lucky.
It was my company and it was just me. Like our guys would be wearing like cargo shorts, Crocs, and a T-shirt while they cleaned windows. And I'm glad I have Carter. I mean, the brand and the marketing I would just mess it up without Carter.
Oh yeah, and then if I would have started, it's like we'd be wearing just random shit, and then like we would never have a bit. Like we would have never followed anything. We would have never
process.
Yeah, there would have been no process. Everything would have been like figured out as you get there.
Yeah, so and you guys got pretty lucky in that way because when you guys decided to be business partners, you guys didn't realize like you guys had those different skills, right?
I think we did because it was like in a lot of ways we hadn't been really close friends for that long. Like prior to starting Pinks, once we got laid off, we started hanging out more, and we like realized like, oh my gosh, like there's so many things I admire about you that like I don't possess at all that I would love to have more of, and we were so mutual in that I was like, this makes a lot of sense.
And still feel that way.
Yeah, still totally feel that way. And this makes a lot of sense in the business world.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, at the end of the day, is like we want to hang out and have fun. And that's what makes this job so cool. It's like we just get to continually do that and just make money and help other people make money.
But like
the most fun.
Before we like started Pinks, there wasn't this like, I know like on Twitter you'll read like, hey, like be careful who your partners are, that's great advice. And you should be careful who your partners are. But for us, like prior to us becoming business partners, like we knew that, like I knew Carter's character. He married a gal that I've known since high school. And I know that she wouldn't marry some schmuck. She's just a high character woman. And so I knew Carter was like a high character dude. But like prior to starting Pinks, we didn't do this whole like vetting process. Like we just like jumped in together, and like we really did get like lucky, or it was just a total blessing that like it works so well, and that it continues to work well. Now, do we have our disagreements? And like, of course, but at the end of the day, like I know he's got my back and he's in my corner, and vice versa. And like we have each other's best interests and the company's best interests in mind at all times.
Yeah, it's crazy hearing you guys' story. I literally feel like we're staring into a mirror right now because of how similar it is. I'm just missing a mustache, but besides that, everything is the same.
Join the club. Get a mustache, and we'll send you some Pinks hats.
Dude, I'm down.
Dude, we need some Pinks hats, man.
We need some Pinks merch for sure.
We'll ship it to you after this.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just curious, why franchising? What gave you guys the idea to want a franchise?
So prior to us starting Pinks, we both worked in an office environment, corporate role, and our whole basically we didn't feel like we were being fully used. And I don't know if there's a listener listening right now that's like, man, I like my job, but I feel like I'm firing at 60% of my capacity, or I'm not using all my gifts and skills to its maximum potential. And so when we got laid off and we were forced into starting a company, I think at month 1, both of us were this is way better than any job we've ever had in the past. And both of our lives were changed for the better. Because we started our own business and because the brand was resonating in Austin. And so basically our thought was this, gosh, our lives have been changed for the better. Let's and as we've grown the business and success and financial success have come with that, our thought was wait, this isn't we can roll this thing out and scale this thing and change other people's lives as well. And get the person who's just kind of stuck in the rat race of corporate America, or working in the cubicle or working from home. And they're just I feel like there's more for my life, which we felt that 5 years ago. We just wanted to provide a vehicle to enable people to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess the other piece of it is when we first started the business, we had so many people reach out to us and they're like, hey, I want to bring Pinks to Dallas. I want to bring it to Houston. I want to bring it to San Antonio. But we didn't have a way to do that.
And I think we kept looking into maybe we could license it and just have them have the name and maybe collect a little royalty on it. And the more and more we talk to lawyers and guys way smarter than us, they're it's just going to be a franchise. There's no matter how you cut it, it kind of ends up just being a franchise. So you might as well just do the thing. And then that's where ResiBrands comes in, was okay, we know this is we think this trend is happening a lot. People are going to leave their corporate jobs, either buy boomers businesses, or they're going to want to try to start their own thing. If we can do this sooner rather than later, I think there's a huge advantage to the momentum. Mm-hmm. And we knew we couldn't do it quickly if we did it on our own, whereas Resi could come in and they could provide all the systems and just have the playbook ready to go and kind of plug us into their model. And that would just get us right off the ground. So that's kind of what we did and jumped right in October of last year. And it's been
crazy since.
Crazy. It's been so cool.
And it's been fun too, because similar to Carter and I's partnership, how we would say hey, we need each other. And I'm grateful that we've partnered together because we have complementary skill sets. I think we say the same thing for Resi and they say the same thing for us when we partnered with them to blast Pinks out to the nation and franchise this thing. We're so grateful for their people. It's not even them and us. It's we now. Mm-hmm. But we're just so grateful for them. And I would think they're very grateful for us as well, and our brand and our systems that we've created. And so I don't know, it's been sweet.
How much y'all have looked into ResiBrands at all, but I feel like they're doing the exact same thing for franchising that we're trying to do just in the service industry. Is hey, there's so many franchisees out there that buy these businesses and think they're going to get all this ongoing help that it just doesn't exist. And Resi's no, we're going to actually take all these departments in-house. We're going to take the Connect Center. We're going to take outbound in-house. We're going to take all the marketing in-house and help you all along the way and have an 80-person team that's going to walk with you in this process. And as we looked around at other franchises, we're that's nuts. You guys are the only people doing this. It's incredible.
Yeah. Dude, 100%, man. We went through a franchise process with a window cleaning franchise back in 2021. I don't want to say the name to blast them.
We'll say it after.
Yeah, we'll tell you guys when we stop recording. But and then as we were going through the process, we were meeting with some of the franchisees because they were in Orange. We were in Orange County, California, and we talked to them, and the guys were just struggling, and we're well, don't you have support? You're in this franchise system. And he goes, yeah, well, they just told me to knock on more doors. That's all your support? To knock more doors?
Yeah.
And you're giving up a royalty? So it's awesome to hear that they take that approach. And it seems that way based on their branding on their website and looking at their other brands, because they have some cool brands under the umbrella. We've looked into them a lot. We did a whole podcast, our first or second or third episode we did on this podcast. We had a whole segment about ResiBrands and Pinks and what you guys were doing.
Yeah, I feel like it's nuts and super revolutionary for like the service industry. And I think like more and more home services are going to start to look like this Resi model of just like so much support, so much service. At least that's the hope. That would be the best thing for everybody. But
Yeah, I definitely want to talk more about that. But selfishly, I also want to ask. I watched your guys' video on the About Us, and by the way, amazing job. Like the production on it, just like the humor in it. It gives me just like Dollar Shave Club vibes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Super cool. But you guys say like no more arrival windows, and I'm like, interesting, no arrival windows, because that's something we did. Is we was like, hey, we'll arrive between 9 to 10 because you're on a window cleaning job. There's more windows than the customer said there were, or whatever it might be. You end up taking a little longer.
Right.
yeah.
And we found that it benefited us. But I'm curious because you said no more arrival windows, and I was like, interesting. Why?
Well, you guys
no
did the
arrival windows?
subcontract model, right?
At one point, we had up to almost 10 W2 employees.
Oh, okay,
Okay, cool.
That's like what we're at. But yeah, we just thought like, man, if we're doing our job well and quoting well, and we have such a centralized like if you look at our numbers from 2022, it's like we were operating in maybe like 3 or 4 zip codes, like 85% of our business. And we did like 750 that year. And it's like, it's so dense. So we're like, there's no reason we can't tell people like the time we're actually going to be there and like really stick to these timelines. And if Brandon and I are doing a good job of quoting, it's like we should be able to create a calendar that's like super accurate, knowing how fast our guys can move through jobs and like keeping it in the back of their mind, like, hey, we need to get to the next thing. So yeah. And we just thought it was like the ultimate customer service piece. If we can take care of customers' time and like people's, how much they value.
And I will say like it does something for our employees to know that like there's another job coming up and like I got to make a timeline. And so I need to like wrap this thing up. There's no lollygag and there's no like jacking around. It's like I got to get this job wrapped up, close it out, and get to the next one because I got to be there by 1 p.m. on the dot. Actually, 12:55, 5 minutes early. To make sure this next customer is happy. So, yeah, I mean, and the whole like heart of like the arrival window was we would get these like y'all's window makes sense how it's just like an hour. Like that's a lot
better than most,
more reasonable. In Austin, we saw like arrival windows that were like 6 to 8 hours long. It's like, hey, we'll be at your house between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And we're just like, okay, so there goes my whole day. Like, that's so annoying. So we just wanted to like shy away from that and just like push the level of service and the level of excellence that we have at Pink's.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. And then I'm curious too, how you guys like. What is your job structure? Like, what does your operations look like when you show up to a job? Like, how many people are on a truck when they get when they pull up to the house? Who's doing what? How do you guys structure that?
Yeah, it's 2 guys per van. There's a lead and a tech. Honestly, it's like the lead's job to delegate as much of the responsibility to the tech as possible because our hope is like everybody who's running with Pinks is hopefully trying to make it to like a managerial role at some point. Like we want to get them bought in on like, hey, I don't care if you're passionate about window cleaning. Like I just want you to be passionate about serving the customer and then like running a team one day and like being involved here and just kind of getting to the nuts and bolts of like what it means to like do what you say you're going to do and like commit to something wholeheartedly. And so it's like our guys, we think our leads are incredible because they're like constantly trying to coach up our techs to take their job of like, hey, I want to get you more and more responsibility. So most jobs you'll see, it's like the lead is just kind of reminding the tech, like, hey, Rick, like you're setting this up, you're doing the like walk around. He's just like trying to get him ready to understand why he does all these things and why he's thinking about all these things. So it's been cool.
Yeah. And then how about your guys' service stack? Is it just straight window cleaning or do you guys have the classic stack of like window cleaning, gutters, solar panel cleaning, Christmas lights when it's slow?
Yeah. So it's we have all those ancillary forms of revenue. So we do gutter cleaning. We do like smaller power washing jobs. We'll soft wash a house. We'll do light fixtures, all that. We don't do Christmas lights. And that's like, we get a lot of questions about that. Like, why don't you do Christmas lights? And our thought is like, well, one, here in Austin, there's no time to do it. Like we have so much business comes in during the holidays because everyone wants their windows to look clean because their in-laws are coming in town and they got to impress the in-laws. But, we really do like a big piece of our business is maintenance plans or recurring cleanings. And so our thought is like, at least for us in Austin and some of our franchisees, like let's have so many maintenance plans that we don't even have time to add on other services that are like a totally different model. Like gutter cleaning makes sense because we're already up there. Or lanterns cleaning makes sense, but like Christmas lights to us is a totally separate business. And who knows, we might eat our words in like 2 years and we might add it. But like for now, our goal is just to be the best in the country at window cleaning, pressure washing, lantern cleaning, just like the exterior cleaning items. And a lot of this thought honestly comes from Todd Graves, the founder of Raising Cane's, if you've ever listened to him.
Yep. Yeah.
But he talks about this idea when he started Cane's and it started to grow. A lot of people were like, dude, you got to add a chicken sandwich. You got to add a salad. You have to add all these other items. And he's like, nope, I just want to serve the best chicken tenders in town. And that's it. And all these private equity dudes and VC dudes are like, no, that's a bad idea. And he just like stuck true to what he knew and what he knew that Cane's was good at. And now, it's a massive company. So right now we're trying to keep it simple and like limit the service offering in the hopes that we are just the absolute best window cleaning company in the country.
So you guys have an interesting culture. Like if you put your company next to it, like most window cleaning companies, it's very different. So I want to hear your guys' experience on hiring, because I know for us it's a big pain point. For most service businesses, it is a pain point. So like what kind of people are you attracting and hiring? Like is it a pain point for you guys?
Yeah, you're totally right. It's like if you don't have a good team, you don't really have like a business in our mind. Like we can't sleep at night if we don't have good team members in place that are taking on responsibility and like you can trust the process. So that's everything. And our model on it is like, obviously we look at these other window cleaning companies and we want to do the exact opposite of everybody. That's just kind of like how we set out to start Pinks, was like, this needs to be flipped. We need to do something different. And so we, instead of hiring like seasoned blue collar people or seasoned like window cleaners, we want to stay away from that. And we don't want like any bad habits. And we just want to hire like hospitality people. Like, okay, that's a high character person. That's someone that we've met in a restaurant or a coffee shop or some hotel. And we're like, that person really owns their work. We could teach them how to window clean. And like, chances are they're probably tired of coming back to the same location every day. And like, how about a change of scenery? How about like way more autonomy in your job? And like, we cover people's lunches. Like, we think we have a really good, offering set.
Cover lunches, huh?
Young guys. Yeah. And it's like, it's been fun. And like, thankfully the pipeline has been really like heavy. We have people applying all the time, and it's honestly like, we don't have enough work. Like we wish we could hire a lot of these great people, but we're just like trying to grow and get more vans.
And to Carter's credit, like Carter built out the Pinks brand and like the vibe and all that. But like, I remember 2 to 3 years ago, like there was like the labor crisis in America, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to hire people, and I can't get people to work. And I remember we walked by Jimmy John's in my neighborhood, and they were paying like $25 an hour, and we're like, oh my gosh, like this is what we're competing with. It was like starting hourly is $25 an hour, which was like, I mean, it's great pay, obviously, but like the brand just attracted like the right people, and people wanted to put on the uniform. They wanted to wear the get up. They wanted to not go to the same restaurant every day, like Carter said, but they'd rather buzz around town in a Pinks van and serving people. So just having that hospitality, servant minded.
Instagram did a lot for hiring.
Yeah. Like
people just be able to look at that and be like, oh, I think I totally understand what this is like.
Yeah.
And just having like a very concise message and like true voice. It's like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we stand for. Kind of, this is what you should expect. Yeah. And so people were like, okay, I can get behind that. I understand that. Whereas other service companies or other like maybe window cleaners, you don't know what you're jumping into. Like it's not as clear maybe because it doesn't have a super strong brand.
Yeah, I think we were missing that because we had a similar vision to you guys, but it seemed like it was hard for us to convince those hospitality type of people to work outside in the sun. And I think it was just we didn't have as fun of like a culture that like seemed like super appealing. right? Like, would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, not saying that like everybody takes to it really quickly by any means, because I think in a lot of ways, like maybe the Instagram can hurt us because it looks fun and pretty and easy. And you get out there and we're in Texas.
yeah,
I mean, you
it's
guys,
brutal.
same thing. It's like, yeah, it's 110 degrees and you're like wearing pants. And you're like, what am I doing out here? But yeah, we think it's really meaningful work.
We always tell every guy that we interview, like, hey, like the Instagram is super fun, but like it's hard work.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's like we very much have like a work hard, have fun culture, but there's days that you're like, man, this is a 9-hour day and it's 100 degrees outside.
Dude, people underestimate the level of what's the word I'm looking for here? Just a level of I don't know if it's difficulty, but just window cleaning is hard work. Like, take a water-fed pole and go water-fed pole 60 windows on a 4,000, 5,000 square foot house, and tell me how your shoulders feel.
Yeah, it's tough. It takes it'll take it out of you. But what we love, and this is we fell in love with the window cleaning business because when we worked in corporate America, we'd work 8 hours a day, which really means we're probably working 4 hours a day, but we're like looking busy for the next 4.
Right.
But what we loved is like we could go to a house or go to a restaurant and clean the whole thing. Like, it's dirty when you show up, it's clean when we leave, and we're like, look what I did today. While when we worked in the corporate world, it was like, all right, I sent a few emails and I plugged some numbers into Excel. And I'm not saying like we're not trying to say that like there's anything wrong with corporate America. It's great, and it's like for a lot of people, honestly, but it wasn't for us. And so like as soon as we started window cleaning, I think it meant so much to Carter and I that we could like look and see that we tangibly did something and we made a difference. And then a customer like had a smiling face and a customer like verbally affirmed like, oh my gosh, this looks great. And we kind of just got addicted to that. Hey, we're finishing a job and the customer's happy and we just want to make more people happy.
Yeah, it's like our guys, the hardest thing for them is when they feel like they didn't serve the customer well, or they feel like the customer had an expectation and they weren't able to deliver, which is like such a great core to have in all your employees. And I think that's like kind of what we're trying to get at every day is like, oh, that's like the joy of it, is come into a dirty job and be like, okay, I leave when this is clean, and then I get an instant hit of dopamine gratification because the customer's happy. And window cleaning is like such a great business in the sense it's a bunch of little projects. So it's like this is happening multiple times a day and you're making people happy and like you're closing out jobs and on to the next. And man, we had so many days we just plug away on the computer all day, close the laptop and be like, what did I just do all day? I'm like, it's just, not saying that those jobs aren't bad. Honestly, it works for people.
It is oddly satisfying and kind of therapeutic to clean windows.
We love it.
Dude, one thing I want to touch on is the whole recurring aspect. That was a kind of a struggle for us. In house cleaning, it's a lot easier because it's happening weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. But with window cleaning, maybe we got some customers doing quarterly sometimes, but most of the time it was like once a year. So how are you guys pushing more of a reoccurring aspect to the business?
It's in the backpack if you're looking for it. Yeah, he's looking for our little like maintenance plan.
We have
menus.
like a car wash model almost that we've like built out, like a good, better, best.
Tell me about it, man.
And basically, like the whole goal and like the whole thought is if you get your windows cleaned once, they're gonna get dirty again. Like It's just how it works, and probably a month or two. And so we basically like create customer incentive packages to lower the cost per clean as the frequency goes up. And so in 2023, 41% of our customers or of our revenue was recurring.
Wow.
Our goal this year is to bump that to 50. I mean, for our franchisees, it's the same goal.
Right.
And then like, honestly, within the past like few months, even we've been talking about like, wait, everyone should be a recurring client. Like, even if it's a one-time clean a year, let's just calendar it out and get them on. And then the customer can save a little bit of dough because we're incentivizing them in the correct way. And it helps them. And then it helps us because, obviously like for our teams, when we show up to do a weekly clean on a restaurant, the team knows where to park. They know the staff. They know where the water source is. And it creates a great efficiency for us, which therefore like creates more profit for the company. But two, like it's fun for our teams to go to the same places and like they have relationships with the staff of these restaurants or with the homeowner or whatever, which we call like the Pink's touch. It's like, we're in the people business. Like, yeah, like we clean, but we want to make people happy and serve our city and serve our customers wherever we are in the country. So we love the recurring model. And we always, like, whenever we coach our franchisees, we're always telling them like, hey, like really like push like the like cleaning plan. One, because the customer saves money, and two, your future self will thank your past self that stuff's already calendared out months in advance. I know for us, like, we sleep great at night because we have like $500,000. Like this January, we had $500,000 on the calendar for the rest of the year, already on the books, and that just helps us sleep good at night. And then that's what the goals for the franchisees.
Yeah, we're like, okay, that's 2 vans worth of work right there, at least. Mm-hmm. And they're like, let's go out and fill the other gaps.
Yep.
And it's been fun because we've turned, like, we're 50-50 residential commercial. And we're all about just getting everybody on maintenance plans. And we always think it's a win-win because it's like, hey, let's save you money up front and just put this on the calendar down the road. You can cancel whenever you want. This is not binding. This is just like a handshake deal. Yep. But I'm trying to look out for you. I'll let you know a week out when this appointment's coming up. But we got you down. And we'll save you 15, 20%, whatever it is.
That's awesome.
No, it is. Because that's something
we're giving away all of our secrets. There's a lot more trading to it. You got to buy a franchise for that.
No, dude, this is good. This is good, man. What does the current team in Austin look like with the OG location? Like how many trucks, how many crews, how many guys, like office staff?
We got 7 guys, 3 vans, about to have another van coming next week. So we'll have 4 vans, and then we're hiring like 2 more guys.
Okay. And
so yeah, we're trying to get 4 vans, 10 guys, about that.
Awesome. And then how do you guys?
4 vans, 8 guys.
Oh, sorry to cut you off if there's some lag. How do you guys structure, like, okay, how much work is being put into like the OG location that is company owned, the corporate one, as opposed to growing the actual franchise, selling more locations, etc.
Yeah, that's why we decided to like split roles. So it's like Brandon's really focusing on any questions or any day-to-day stuff that goes down on the franchising side. And then I'm just still kind of fully focused on making sure Austin is pumping. And it's like, that's our baby at the end of the day. And it's always going to be totally separate of the franchising. So yeah, it's got to win. It's got to work. And it's like, that's what we're passionate about. And we love it.
Oh, totally. And what's cool is just like the franchise growth helps the Austin business. Obviously, like it's just more awareness, more PR, more all that. But then like a step further is like whenever we decided to franchise the business, like we had to like really dial in the systems and make sure they were like borderline perfect to scale it across the country. So just like the thought exercises of us like creating a business to scale across the country really benefited the Austin business. So what's that saying? It's like all boats rise with a rising tide.
Yep.
And so it's like, as the tide is rising for all of our franchisees, so it rises for us here in Austin as well.
And our hope is like that us deciding to do the franchising thing is like the best investment we can make for our OG Austin guys, because now they have like a totally different upward mobility structure in the sense that like, oh, well, let's go like case number 1. Let's help you like buy a franchise somewhere. Like you've got all the skills, you know how to run this. You're going to be killing it from day one. Let's like help finance it. Or maybe we want to go do another corporate location. Now we have the model. Now we like know how to go put you somewhere else and get you like running off the ground and what the pay should look like and all this. Or maybe you come into Pink's franchising as like you were a window cleaner in Austin. You've worked your way up and now you're like a coach for all of our different locations, and you help these guys like get off the ground, get onboarded, get started. And so we're like, every guy we hire, we're like, look, this is where you can like kind of world's your oyster. Whatever you want to do here, like we want to help you get there. Like just find something you're passionate about and you're willing to like put your real effort into, and let's ride. Like let's figure out how to get you there.
Our day one hire at Pink's Austin, his name's Hayden, an amazing guy. But Hayden recently came with me to Palm Beach, Florida, to help launch a location out there. And it was awesome, and it was super fun for him too. To go from like day one guy and then him be like, all right, now I'm like traveling with the company and like helping other people have success. It's really cool and I think gratifying for him and us.
Yeah. What I really like about Pink's, because we can speak to this too because we've been through the process with some of these other brands, but just franchising as a whole, like a large core of why people buy a franchise, at least in my eyes, I could be totally off base here, is you're paying for a brand, right? You think food, you buy into a McDonald's, you know damn well everyone knows McDonald's, and you throw up any McDonald's location, it's going to be packed. Same thing, Wendy's, Wingstop, etc. I don't feel anyone's done that until I saw you guys in the service space. Because I've always wondered, like, why would you buy a service franchise? It doesn't make any sense. And it's the first time I've actually seen someone nail the branding and can really see it, like, explode and Pink's become an actual household name because the branding is there. Whereas all your competitors in franchising, it's not there. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
It's just like teaching them how to start the window cleaning business, but like you go watch our content to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, one, thank you for saying that. That means a lot. And like that gives us like juice to continue what we're doing every day. Because obviously, as you guys know, like running a business is challenging, and but like whenever you hear things like that, it's really kind and sweet. But like the whole strategy of Pink's, it was kind of like, hey, look at the competitors and let's do the opposite. So like as we looked at competitors, like their social media pages, everyone's is like peppered with these like stock pictures that like look horrible. And hey, here's a before picture of a dirty window and now it's clean. And it's almost like even harder to like see the difference because it's hard to take a picture of a piece of glass like and see the difference. And so we were just like, what if we just create really fun and engaging content? Because at the end of the day, we have this belief that most people don't give a crap about window cleaning. And so our thought was, let's make them care. And when they think about window cleaning, we want them to think about Pink's and nobody else. And so that's the goal. And the social media, I say strategy, but it really started as like, let's just have some fun with each other and with some friends, and have a fun Instagram. And then it kind of turned into like, wait, this is kind of resonating. And I think people are hungry, like customers and the market is hungry for something different in the service business because everyone's kind of the same, is what we've like landed on. And so our whole thought was like, let's just be different and like engage with people, engage with followers, engage with our community via the comp cleans that we do, in a different and fun way to capture eyeballs and bless the community. That's like the heart of it.
I think what's hard too is like it feels like there's only like two real ends of the spectrum with window cleaning. Like there's the mom and pop, like really bootstrap. Maybe it's just like one or two people. They don't have much of a website. They don't have a whole lot of tech, but it's like they're busy and they're creating a great life for themselves. But maybe they're like just don't get their name out there enough. And then there's like the other end where it's like a private equity owned like big franchise thing where it's just like kind of lost all the personality that the mom and pop has. And it's just like pumping into marketing and starts to feel stale and it feels corporate and it just doesn't feel like local. And that's where we're like, man, it'd be really fun to somewhere land in this middle of like, hey, there's a lot of professional systems that are great from these like private equity companies that like put money into it, invest in all of like these great SOPs and things, but then also make it feel very local and have the mom and pop-ness of like, oh, I feel like our hope is that like everybody who launches a Pink's, everybody in their town thinks that they started Pink's. Like, I don't even want them to know about us or know about Austin or like have any idea this is a franchise. Like it should feel very homegrown.
Yeah.
And that's like our marketing strategies and like the ads we're going to run locally and the way we're going to like invest in the community by doing these comp cleans and only really selling franchises to people that want to be like the community leader for window cleaning, not just some dude that's got $100,000 and wants to buy a territory and like have somebody else run it. Like we're just looking for people that care and that want to make it local.
Yeah, you guys are good. I could see Pink's going like completely national in the next couple of years. So.
Yeah,
that's the goal, man.
Dude, I wanna go back to ResiBrands real quick because like you guys partnered with them pretty early on. Like for some reason in my mind, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that they partnered with franchises that have been around for like a while. So how did you guys meet with them and how did the deal come about?
So basically, well, we started Pink's in June of 2020, like in the heat of COVID. And then we partnered with Resi, I guess like the deal was inked in July of 2023. So about 3-ish years later, we partnered with them. The deal came about because a friend of mine who I'm on a nonprofit board with, and I didn't know him that well. Him and I got lunch one day, and we were kind of swapping stories, and I was telling him, you know, my life story, and then, you know, Pink's is a part of that, of course. And you know, he started drilling into Pink's and, you know, learning my heart, Carter's heart for the service business. And he's like, dude, and the guy I was meeting with, he's a venture capital guy. He's like, you have to meet my buddy, Steven, who has this company called ResiBrands. You know, y'all have very similar visions for the service business. Y'all should just meet and, you know, no agenda, just talk. And so Carter and I met with Steven and his business partner, Alan. And immediately we were like, just like so impressed with what they were doing, you know, with franchising and all that. And you know, just like their customer first mentality, systems driven, brand driven, you know, all about like making the customer happy and happy franchisees and all that. And it was funny because like we knew we wanted to grow outside of Austin because we knew there was demand. But like we said earlier, we just didn't have like a vehicle for growth yet. On the Resi side, they wanted a window cleaning, exterior cleaning company, but they didn't have any systems built out. They didn't have a brand. And so they were kind of like looking for something. And so, you know, we really think it was like a God thing that we got paired up. And, you know, we met at this burger joint in North Austin like 3 or 4 times. And we started like the dating process, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then in July, we inked the deal and we got married.
Yeah. And Sergio, I feel like to your point, they were like, this is a risk for sure for Resi because we're such a new company. It's like we only really have like 2 years to show of work. But I think they were impressed by like, whoa, these are the margins you're doing and these are the numbers you're doing in that short amount of time. And you've never spent any money on ads. Like we didn't run ads up until then. Like everything we were doing was just like bootstrap, door knocking, and it was really like just the power of having a good brand. We thought we're like, that's why, I mean, we didn't know what we didn't know. Yeah. We're like, this seems really normal. I guess like you just have vans out and you get business. But talking to Steven more and learning about ResiBrands, like, no, like you got to spend money like on ads. And we didn't, it's something we were like, we didn't think was necessary. Now we've thrown the Resi system and like added this fuel to the flame in the sense of marketing. And it's like crazy. the amount of leads we have. We're like, oh, dude, we should have been doing this from the get-go. We should have been running at like quality ads. And yeah, who knows? We've been in a different spot maybe. But all that to say, we're having a blast.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a goal? Like, what's the ultimate goal with Pinks? Do you guys have like some type of target as far as, hey, I want X amount of franchise locations, or I want to sell eventually, or just build it?
You know,
biggest
it's so, we get this question a lot, but our goal, like truly, and we said this the other day, we were having a partners meeting with Steven and Alan, and like, you know, we've had like some success in the franchising world. We have, you know, 7 locations launched, I believe now, and, you know, a lot more in the pipeline. And we're like, in our brains, we're like, we haven't done anything yet. Like success to us is when our franchisees are better than Pink's Austin. That's our goal. And so that's what we're like fighting tooth and nail for, is we want every single franchise to be better than us. Now we're competitive and Pink's Austin is growing. And so like, we don't want them to beat us, but we also kind of do want them to beat us. Mm-hmm. But like, that's our whole like mindset is like, get all these franchisees, to have super successful businesses. And whether that's a 7 we have and the, you know, 5 or 10 more that's coming in the next few months, or that's like hundreds of franchisees doing this. Like we just want our franchisees to crush it, for their lives to be changed, and for them to just be so stoked that they purchased a Pink's and see it as worth it.
Yeah, just like to get their life back and get to do all the things they never thought they were going to be able to do, and to know that like, oh wow, like they used our vehicle to do it would be the coolest thing ever. Like we just want happy franchisees. We got a text the other day from our guy in College Station that launched like a month ago. Yeah. And he's just like, sends us this long voice memo and he's like, dude, like I love my job. And we're like, dude, it's just so fun because like it's College Station, man. Like it's not like this honey hole territory and you're like loving it and having a blast. And he came from like making great money before and like he was taking a risk and starting this. And yeah, it's just so cool to see like people really, enjoying lives.
It like truly like brings a tear to our eye when we have like a franchise chat and people are always like posting their like wins and like, hey, I just sold a maintenance plan for, $3,000 annual customer value. And like, it just like almost like chokes us up because we're like, holy cow, like these guys, their lives are changing. And like, we get to like be a small piece of that. And it's, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you guys really, really care. Like I said, everything I said prior about Pinks and branding and the culture, I could definitely tell it's there. So if anybody is watching this and wants to potentially purchase a Pinks franchise or connect with you guys in any way, where's the best way to find you guys? Yeah,
you can go to our website, pinkswindows.com. There's a franchising tab with all the information. There's a deck on there where you can get more information. And then if you're interested, there's a form on there and you can fill it out. And I will literally respond to your email probably within like a few hours. That's the goal at least. And we'll get you connected to our team and we'll have an intro call and all that. You can also follow us at Pinks Windows on Instagram. And LinkedIn and still trying to figure out the Twitter thing. I know, Johnny, you have a great Twitter presence.
I feel like we haven't said anything, but it was like, dude, it's so cool to be on this, like full circle. Brandon showed me Squeegee God, I don't know, like 3 years ago maybe. Yeah. And Brandon's on Twitter and he was like, dude, this is so sick. And he was just like, man, I feel like this is like exactly what we should be thinking about in a lot of ways. And so like huge praises to y'all. Like, I love it.
Yeah, you guys inspired us for sure. And like, brought a lot of like validity to some of the thoughts we were having. I was like, oh, like they think that too. Okay, cool. Yeah. Like we might be doing this system right.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I had no idea.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad we could help in whatever way from Twitter. But no, I mean, this has been great, guys. And to anybody listening to this who's potentially thinking about getting involved in the window cleaning business, it's a great business. It's great. It's not going anywhere. Windows get dirty over and over and over again, right? So that's never going to go anywhere. They're not going to build robots to clean windows anytime soon. So
nope.
I think that's a good place to wrap it, guys.
AI, or AI is going to take it over.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite podcasts personally, and I appreciate you guys coming on. So that's a good place to wrap it.
And we'll put all the info in the description below if anyone wants to contact you guys. But I appreciate you guys again.